on the limiter there, boys. What is up YouTube? My name is Vinny and welcome to Road Blast Media. Before we crack on today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like button. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. To my knowledge, I think we're at about 870. So yeah, it's going awesome. We're almost at 1,000, so click that button if you haven't subscribed yet. So on today's video, we're going to be doing a review on the Royal Enfield Continental GT650. Now, as you can see, my one isn't completely stock, but that shouldn't matter. I'll still tell you about my first impressions of the bike and how the bike's going for me at about 3,000 kilometers in. I wanted to wait until I'd done a few thousand kilometers so I could give you a good, honest review and actually have some hours on the saddle to really, you know, give a review of this bike. So to get started, these bikes, they make 47 horsepower and 52 Newton meters of torque out of the factory. And they weigh just over 200 kilos, so that makes for not the fastest package, but a really good package for a learner to intermediate rider to get on and not be too stunned by it. But in this review, I'm going to be going on about why the power figures and the spec sheets doesn't really matter with this bike, because to start off, just the way that it looks is absolutely incredible. It catches eyes, it snaps necks everywhere I go, whether it's the gas station or the supermarket. I always get people coming up to me and asking questions about it and really interested in it, which is really cool. And the character of this bike really is something. It's you know, it's more than just a motorbike. It really has a personality about it. And yeah, so on my one, I've done the Tech 2-into-1 exhaust system, and I would highly recommend this system. It adds a bit more power, makes it a bit more punchy in the mid-range, as well as I've done a DNA air filter, and I've done the fly screen and little headlight protector there. Cheers, Ruahini's rider. But yeah, no, this bike is absolutely brilliant. We'll just start off with a few things. The braking system on it is really effective. It's got a bi-bray caliper on what looks to be a Brembo disc. Bi-bray means bi Brembo, so you know, they do well there. It's got ABS brakes, fuel injection. It's just absolutely brilliant, but it still sticks to that 1960s, 1970s cafe racer look, which is what is the main selling point of this bike, is the fact that it looks so classic. So one thing that I really love about this bike is the fit and finish of it. Most of the fit and finish, I will say, because they do cheap out on something. So it's really nicely finished, like on all of the important parts. The engine is basically a massive statement piece. You know, like they've got the engraved Royal Enfield here. It looks really wonderful, and you've also got, like, you know, Royal Enfield and the foot pegs and things like that. They really go the extra mile. The paint job is very nice. I've heard that these are hand painted, but you know, it's a really brilliant paint job. You've got the sparkly pearl silver going through there, the nice yellow accent, and then like a straight gloss black, and it looks really nice on the Dr. Mayhem. All the other colors are really brilliant. I especially love the Mr. Clean. I couldn't get one at the time, so the Dr. Mayhem was the one. But yeah, no, so like the stickers and the badging, even though they are stickers, they look very high quality. They blend with the paint well. They just look brilliant. The suspension looks really cool with the piggybacks on the back, and it's adjustable. The front forks they leave something to be desired, but YSS offers a really good kit that really stiffens up the suspension and makes it adjustable. So the standard shocks are not the greatest, but they do the job, and I can still get this thing scraping foot pegs down on corners and things like that. So you know, it's really effective system still. Just not ideal, but for the price tag, it is going to leave some things to be desired. And I think that's part of the charm of these bikes, is that they kind of give you a really good base for customization. Because another thing I didn't like about the bike was the exhaust, and it wasn't the twin pipes that were bothering me. It was the simple size of them. They were very big, and they felt like they choked the bike a little bit. And you know, they weighed I think it's 14 kgs heavier than this whole full 2-into-1 system. So I chopped a lot of weight by putting that on. I gained a bit of power being a 2-into-1 system, and it was a really good addition to the bike. So the exhaust weren't my thing, although I didn't mind the look of the twin pipes. And on my old man's Interceptor, he's got the twin pipes with Lextech slip-ons. They're a lot more slimline, and it really looks good. So I love the twin pipes, but I went for the 2-into-1 as we already have an Interceptor with twins. So A thing that I'm not too fond of about this bike as well is I haven't had it long. This is a 2021. I'm already getting corrosion on some of the screws here. Not all of them, like see these ones here are fine, they're higher quality, but some of the lower quality sort of bolts and screws, they starting to corrode and you're getting a bit of corrosion. I've also noticed a little bit of rust in here, but that's nothing to be bothered about. Like, you know, to be honest, the bike as a whole is a really good bike, and of course they were going to have to cheap out on some things to offer these at such a competitive price. They're literally cheaper than every other 650 on the market, so you know, and by the looks of it, just standing from afar, you really can't fault this thing. It looks amazing. It's a great bike to ride. So yeah, another one of my favorite things is obviously you've got the classic analog dashes. I like the analog clocks there. They look great. They really, like, they're easy to read. They look nice when they're lit up at night time. They're absolutely brilliant system that they got going there. Now, one of my most definitely favorite things about this bike by far is the way that it sounds. Now, this bike has a 270-degree crank coming out of a 650 parallel twin, and easily one of the best sounding engines that motorbikes have ever created, ever in the history. I think honestly it's really hard to beat this sound, so just give it a listen. Alright guys, so I've just taken off my voice mic here, just put it onto the media mod mic so you get a better idea of how it sounds, and yeah, we'll just start it up. Now listen to that thing roar when you start it. It sounds so good. And then these don't sound as crazy with the stock pipes. They still sound good, but seriously, if you buy one of these, I highly recommend doing the pipes, whatever one you fancy. There's so many different ones, but because it unleashes one of the most beautiful sounds man has ever made. Yeah buddy, yeah buddy. Alright guys, so I've gone over most of the things on the exterior of the bike and you know, things like that. Let me know if you've left anything out, but yeah, now we're going to jump on the saddle and I'm going to really take it out on one of my favorite twisty roads just out Welcome Bay, and I'm going to give you an explanation of how this bike actually makes me feel when I ride it, and how it behaves on the road and things like that. So yeah. Alright guys, now we're on one of my favorite twisty roads. This is called Reed Road. It's out Welcome Bay, and yeah, we're just going to take this thing out and see how it makes us feel. So first impressions, the engine is very punchy down low. Like, it does leave a little to be desired, you know, when you're at top end, but it still can carry quite a high speed. I've done personally about 190 on this, but yeah, no, it's very punchy in the low down, and has heaps of torque, so you can really fly through some of these twisty roads, which is what the whole cafe race is designed for anyway. And boy does it sound good with that 2-into-1 exhaust on here. Absolutely roaring. Now I have to be careful on this road because I've only done it a few times, and sometimes there can be a bit of gravel or something loose on the road, so we have to be very careful not to overdo it on these corners. But they're good fun, man. It just is so twisty, and this is where this bike belongs. If you got a lot of roads and like these in your area, I would seriously recommend getting one of these bikes. This one's always tight. But yeah, so the way that this bike makes me feel is kind of special. It's almost like unleashing a wild animal, you know. There's no rider aids, there's no assistance, it's just you and the bike. A symbiotic relationship, and you really can't beat it. And yeah, it's just such a punchy little machine, and boy does it sound good. But yeah, no, so this Tech 2-into-1 adds about 5 horsepower and about 20 newton meters of torque, so these bikes don't usually behave as aggressively as this. But yeah, no, it's still a wonderful machine to blast through some corners and absolutely rip it. Now these roads are also kind of where you feel the front suspension and also kind of rear, not being able to keep up with the weight of the bike. it's still really brilliant, and it still behaves well, but you really do need to fight with it. It is not an easy feat, but that's kind of part of the fun and the charm, is this is meant to be, you know, a replica of an old bike with just some 2020 safety features and reliability of a 2020 bike. And I think Royal Enfield absolutely bloody nailed it. It's absolutely brilliant. Such a fun bike to ride, and you cannot beat the exhaust note. Oh man, what fun. Woo! Headed on the limiter there, boys! But yeah, no, it is a brilliant bike to ride. I seriously recommend one. If you're considering it and you're weighing up between, you know, the Continental GT or the Interceptor, ask yourself what type of rider you are. If you're a guy who likes to blast twisty corners and these back roads like this, then the GT is for you. But if you just like to cruise through town, you know, and go to the beach and things like that, then the Interceptor is for you. You know, long distance hauls, highway runs, the Interceptor is a much nicer bike on a long haul ride, I'm not going to lie. The GT is a little bit too leaned in, and you can kind of, you know, get left a little bit lacking there. But it's still good for a long distance ride. I've still done, you know, 200-300 kilometer rides with minimal struggle. The seat is really nice. It's a good, like, it's actually quite comfortable, the GT seat. You see a lot of Interceptor owners you know, changing their seat to the GT seat because it seems to have a little bit more padding. And yeah, it's a very, very brilliant seat, this one. And the foot pegs are in a lovely position to carve corners. This corner is relentless on a big banking. It's so scary going on that corner when you're going down. But yeah, so just on a slight note, if you guys are interested in Himalayans, or if you ride a Himalayan, check out Pub Runner on YouTube. He recently gave me a bit of a shout out on one of his videos, so I'm doing the same for him. Pay it forward, you know. But you know, he has really great and informative Himalayan content. Also has some Interceptor videos and other bikes and stuff like that. So yeah, give him a shout out. Let him know that I sent you. So yeah, Pub Runner on YouTube. I will be putting a link of his channel in the description below. So yeah, that's basically it, man. Like, this is such a brilliant bike, and I thought it would be an awesome road to take you guys on with this one, because it's just, this is how it behaves the best, is on a road like that. You know, it's absolutely gorgeous looking. And seriously, if you're in the market for a cafe racer or even a classic bike, I would say consider buying a Royal Enfield Continental GT 650. It is such a lovely bike. With the small downfalls that it has, it really makes up for it in everything else, and especially the main one being price. You cannot beat it. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, guys. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed. Cheers!